We'll just give it another minute for our IT people to set up and we can begin. Okay, Doug, we're all set.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. This is Doug Gross, Chair of the New York Creates. I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting. Due to public health concerns, this meeting is being held via WebEx as authorized by Chapter 417 of the laws of 2021. A webcast is available for members of the public to listen to the meeting, and we welcome those who are listening to the meeting via webcast. I will now do a roll call of the participants in today's meeting, beginning with the directors. Michael Abbott.
Present.
Anita Brown.
Present.
Heather Hage.
Present.
Dr. Mengling Shao.
Present.
Joan McDonald.
Present.
Kristen Proud.
Present.
Kenneth Tompkins.
Present.
I'd also like to recognize the advisory representative designees. First, Kevin Eunice, Chief Operating Officer of Empire State Development, who is a designee of the Chief Executive Officer of Empire State Development. And Dr. Todd Larson, Acting President of SUNY Polytechnic Institute, who is a designee of the Chancellor of the State University of New York. I'd also like to recognize the member representatives. First, Emily Conchala, representing the Research Foundation of the State University of New York. And secondly, Mike Frame, representing SUNY Polytechnic Institute Foundation. I will now do a roll call of the officers who are participating in the meeting. Patricia Arciero Craig.
Present.
Paul Kelly.
Present.
Scott Bateman.
Present.
Timothy Taylor.
Present.
Jamie Cody.
Present.
And Patricia Buckland.
Present.
I would like to ask everyone to mute their phones when they are not speaking to minimize background noise. Also, please identify yourself when speaking and making a motion. For voting, we'll call out each director's name for their vote so we can accurately record the vote. I'll now ask anyone if anyone has a conflict of interest with respect to the items on today's agenda. If so, please make an appropriate disclosure on the record now and recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with regard to this item. Hearing none, we'll proceed with the approval of the past meeting minutes. I'd like to have a motion to approve the minutes of the New York Creates meeting of September 30th, 2021. Is it a motion?
It's Kristen Proud. I'll make the motion, yes.
Thank you, Kristen. Is there a second?
I'll second by Mengling Shao.
Thank you, Ming. Are there any corrections? Okay, I will ask each director for their vote, aye, nay, or absence. Michael Abbott?
Aye.
Anita Brown?
Aye.
Heather Hage?
Aye.
Dr. Mengling Chow?
Aye.
Joan McDonald?
Aye.
Kristen Proud?
Aye.
Kenneth Tompkins?
Aye.
And I, Doug Gross, as well, vote aye. So the minutes are approved. And now I'd like to introduce Michael Abbott, Chair of the Audit Committee, for the Audit Committee report. Michael.
Thank you, Chair. Board members, you've been provided with a copy of the 2021 Annual Audit of New York Creates. I'd like to ask for a motion to consider and adopt New York Creates Resolution number 15, FRMC Resolution Number 181 and FSMC Resolution Number 201, approving the 2021 annual audit. Could I have a motion, please?
So move, Mike. Ken Tompkins.
Thank
It's
you.
Kristen Proud, second.
Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate that. By way of background, the bylaws of New York
I'll
create.
second Anita Brown.
Thank you. The bylaws of New York creates Fuller Road Management Corporation and Fort Schuyler Management Corporation, collectively the corporations, each provide that the financial statements of the corporation shall be audited annually by a certified public accounting firm approved by the Board of Directors. The board authorized the corporation to engage KPMG to conduct the annual audit for the year ending June 30th, 2021. KPMG has completed the audit. The audit has been prepared as a New York Creates single consolidated audit with accompanying schedules for FRMC and FSMC as was done last year. The audit committee met previously and approved resolutions for New York Creates, FRMC, and FSMC. 1, approving the 2021 annual audit, subject to and conditional upon completion of the remaining administrative items discussed with the audit committee by management and the certified public accounting firm to the satisfaction of the chair of the audit committee. 2, approving and authorizing the president, treasurer, and chief financial officer, each of them without the other, on behalf of each corporation, to execute, acknowledge, and deliver the documents and agreements associated with the 2021 annual audit, which such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the officer of such corporation signing the same shall approve, the execution thereof by such officer to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval, and to take such actions as are necessary or appropriate, including the execution, acknowledgement, and delivery of other documents and agreements as may be necessary or appropriate to implement and carry out the purposes and intent of this resolution, and recommending that the board approve this same action. So the requested item this afternoon is to approve New York Creates Resolution Number 15, FRMC Resolution Number 181, and FSMC Resolution Number 201. Is there any discussion of the items? Okay. Hearing none, I will ask each director for their vote on the motion. Anita?
Aye.
Thank you. Dr. Gross?
Vote aye.
Heather?
Aye.
Dr. Menley?
Aye.
Joan? Kristen?
Aye.
Thank you. Ken?
Aye.
And I also vote in the affirmative. The ayes have it and the motion is adopted. Just like to say thank you to Marty and the KPMG team, as well as the New York Creates team for facilitating and completing this audit. It's my understanding the audit went well and there's cooperation between both the team and management. So thank you. Chair, that concludes my audit committee report. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate it. I would now like to introduce Kristen Proud, Chair of the Finance Committee, for the Finance Committee report. Kristen?
Thank you, Doug. Good afternoon, everyone. The first item on the Finance Committee report agenda is a lease amendment with Applied Materials, Inc., or AMAT. Could I have a motion to consider and adopt a lease amendment with AMAT?
This is Joan McDonald. So moved.
Thank you, Joan. Second?
This is Mike Abbott. I second it.
Thank you, Mike. So by way of background, AMAT currently leases 2,394 square feet of space in the NanoFab South building. The company will surrender 395 square feet of this space and lease an additional 934 square feet of space in the building, with the new term for the new additional space running concurrently with the existing lease, which runs through October 31, 2025. The current lease also provides AMAT with an option to extend the term of the lease for up to 7 years, beginning November 1, 2025. The company's base rent obligation for the expanded premises will be the same on a square foot basis as that set forth in the current lease, which is presently $34.97 per square foot, inclusive of operating expenses and utilities. The Finance Committee approved the resolution described in the memorandum that was provided to the board members in advance of the meeting, including recommending that the board approve the same actions at our meeting today. So our requested action is the approval of a resolution, 1, approving and authorizing the corporation to enter into a lease amendment with AMAT on the terms stated in the memorandum provided to the board in advance of the meeting, and 2, approving and authorizing the president, treasurer, and chief financial officer, each of them without the other, on behalf of the corporation, to execute, acknowledge, and deliver the aforesaid amendment with such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the officer of the corporation signing same shall approve, the execution thereof by such officer to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval, and to take such actions as are necessary and appropriate, including the execution, acknowledgement, and delivery of other documents and agreements as may be necessary or appropriate to implement and carry out the purposes and intents of this resolution. Are there any questions or comments about the resolution? Hearing none, I will ask each director for his or her vote on the motion at this time. Michael Abbott,
Aye.
Anita Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Gross,
Aye.
Heather Hage,
Aye.
Dr. Chow,
Aye.
Joan McDonald,
Aye.
Ken Tompkins.
Aye.
And I would also like to be recorded in the affirmative. So the ayes have it and the motion is adopted. The second item from the Finance Committee is a lease amendment with Lamb Research Corporation. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to consider and adopt a lease amendment with Lamb Research Corporation.
So moved by Mengling.
Thank you. Is there a second, please?
Second, Ken.
Thank you. Lamb Research Corporation currently leases 2 office spaces in the NanoFab South building that consist of 1,053 square feet and 1,845 square feet. The lease will expire on March 1, 2022, and Lamb seeks to extend the lease to February 29, 2024. The company will pay $55.89 per square foot for the 1,053 square feet of office space and $54.26 for the 1,845 square foot office, which rates include both operating expenses and utilities. This is a 3% increase from the previous year, and the rent will increase 3% annually. The tenant has the option to extend the lease for 2 12-month terms with 3% escalations. The Finance Committee approved the resolution described in the memorandum that was provided to you prior to this meeting and recommends that the board approve the same today. So our requested action is the approval of a resolution, 1, approving and authorizing the corporation to enter into a lease amendment with Lamb on the terms stated in the memorandum provided to the board, and 2, approving and authorizing the president, treasurer, and chief financial officer, each of them without the other, on behalf of the corporation to execute, acknowledge, and deliver the aforesaid amendment with such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the officer of the corporation signing same shall approve, the execution thereof by such officer to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval, and to take such actions as are necessary and appropriate, including the execution, acknowledgement, and delivery of other documents and agreements as may be necessary or appropriate to implement and carry out the purposes and intents of this resolution. Are there any comments or questions regarding this lease amendment? Okay, at this time, I will ask each director for his or her vote on the motion, beginning with Michael Abbott.
Aye.
Anita Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Gross, Heather
Aye.
Hage,
Aye.
Dr. Chow,
Aye.
Joan McDonald,
Aye.
Ken Tompkins.
Aye.
And I would also like to be recorded in the affirmative. So the ayes have it and the motion is adopted. The third item from the Finance Committee report today is a lease amendment with MCD Metals LLC. At this time, I would ask for a motion to consider and adopt a resolution approving a lease amendment with MCD Metals LLC.
Mrs. Jones, so moved.
Thank you, Joan. A second, please.
This is Mike. I second it.
Thank you, Mike. So MCD Metals has leased 525 square feet of space in the NanoFab East building since 2017. Its lease expired on October 31 of this year, and it is seeking to extend the lease for 3 years with an option to renew for 2 additional 12-month terms. The tenant will pay $32.47 per square foot, which represents a 2% increase from the previous year, and rent and parking fees will also increase by 2% annually. The rent includes operating expenses as well as utilities. The Finance Committee approved the resolution that was described in the memorandum provided to you in advance of this meeting and recommends that the board approve the resolution at this time. So our requested action is approval of a resolution approving and authorizing the corporation to enter into a lease amendment with MCD Metals on the terms that were stated in the memorandum provided to you, and approving and authorizing the president, treasurer, and chief financial officer, each of them without the other, on behalf of the corporation, to execute, acknowledge, and deliver the aforesaid amendment with such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the officer of the corporation signing same shall approve, the execution thereof by such officer to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval, and to take such actions as are necessary, appropriate, including the execution, acknowledgement, and delivery of other documents and agreements as may be necessary or appropriate to implement and carry out the purposes and intents of this resolution. At this point, I'll pause and ask if there are any questions or comments about the lease with MCD Metals. Okay, hearing none, I'll ask each director for his or her vote on the motion, beginning with Michael Abbott, please.
Aye.
Anita Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Gross,
Aye.
Heather Hage,
Aye.
Dr. Xiao,
Aye.
Joan McDonald,
Aye.
Ken Tompkins,
Aye.
and I would also like to be recorded in the affirmative. So the ayes have it and the resolution is adopted. The next item is a lease amendment with TEL Technology Center America, LLC. At this time, I would ask for a motion to consider and adopt a resolution approving a lease amendment with TEL Technology Center America, LLC.
So moved by Mengling.
Thank you. A second, please.
I'll second Anita Brown.
Thank you, Anita. So TEL currently leases 25,040 square feet of office space and an additional 1,461 square feet of lab space, all located in the NanoFab South building. The company is seeking to lease an additional 395 square feet of office space and an additional 1,502 square feet of lab space in the same building. The term for the new space will run concurrently with the term of the current lease, which extends to November 13th, 2025, and it has an option to extend for an additional 2 24-month terms. Rent is presently $35.54 per square foot for the office space and $90.60 per square foot for the lab space. The rent includes operating expenses and utilities. Rent will increase by 3% annually. The Finance Committee approved the resolution described in the memorandum provided to you in advance of this meeting, and the Finance Committee recommends that the board approve the same action here today. Are there any questions or comments about this lease amendment? We'll move on to the vote. Michael Abbott,
Aye.
Anita Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Gross, Heather
Aye.
Hage,
Aye.
Dr. Xiao,
Aye.
Joan McDonald,
Aye.
Ken Tompkins.
Aye.
And I would also like to be recorded in the affirmative. The ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Our next item is a lease amendment with the West Firm PLLC. At this time, I would ask for a motion to consider and adopt a resolution approving a lease amendment with the West Firm.
Mrs. Jones,
Is there
so
a
moved.
motion? Thank you, Joan. A second, please.
This is Anita. I'll second.
Thank you, Anita. So the West firm currently leases a total of 1,938 square feet of space at the Kiernan Plaza, and it at this time is seeking to lease an additional office, which is located on the lobby level of the same building. The West firm will pay $510 per month for the additional office. The remaining lease terms will all remain the same. The Finance Committee reviewed the lease amendment and approved the resolution described in the memorandum that was provided to you in advance of this meeting. The Finance Committee is seeking approval of the board for the lease amendment with the West firm. So the requested action is approve a resolution approving and authorizing the corporation to enter into a lease amendment with the West firm on the terms and conditions stated in the memorandum provided to the board, and approving and authorizing the president, treasurer, and chief financial officer, each of them without the other, on behalf of the corporation, to execute, acknowledge, and deliver the aforesaid amendment with such changes, variations, omissions, and insertions as the officer of the corporation signing same shall approve, the execution thereof by such officer to constitute conclusive evidence of such approval, and to take such actions as are necessary and appropriate, including the execution, acknowledgement, and delivery of other documents and agreements as may be necessary or appropriate to implement and carry out the purposes and intents of the resolution. Is there any discussion or any questions about the lease amendment? Okay, we'll move on to the vote. Michael Abbott,
Aye.
Anita Brown,
Aye.
Dr. Gross,
Aye.
Heather Hage, Dr.
Aye.
Shao,
Aye.
Joan McDonald,
Aye.
Ken Tompkins,
Aye.
and I would also like to be recorded in the affirmative. The ayes have it, and the resolution is adopted. At this time, there is no further business from the Finance Committee, so Dr. Gross, I will turn it back to you.
Kristen, thank you for the report. I'd like to now ask, is there any new business to be considered? Hearing none, we'll move on. Given the change in meeting logistics due to the public health concerns, we notified the public of the opportunity to send in comments via email prior to the meeting. We did not receive any comments. Date for the next meeting is to be determined, and once finalized, will be posted on the website. I'd like to now ask, is there any further business from anyone? If not, if there's no further business, I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
So move, Ken.
Thank you, Ken. Is there a second?
Second, Joan McDonald.
Thank you, Joan. All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'd like to wish everyone a safe and happy holiday. And at this point, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Same to all. Thanks,
Thank you.
everybody.
Happy holidays.
See you.
Stay well.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.